Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims on the Believe Sports Network. We're brought to you by FanDuel. Big guy, really exciting weekend in the NFL. It seems like every weekend there's just a ton to talk about and just storylines everywhere. But let's talk about the two biggest ones here to start the show, and that is the injuries of Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons on the same day. Two teams that seem to be kind of going in two opposite directions here towards the end of the year. I leave the floor to you. Which injury would you like to speak about more and its impact on their team?
Well, I think that's an easy answer. First off, Patrick Mahomes. I'll say this too, Matt. I'm watching both games, and then as soon as I saw the first replay, I went, "Oh, ACL."
Yeah.
And it was really startling how much the movement was. So the Kansas City Chiefs out of the playoffs. That lessens the fact that I don't think they looked at their team and they weren't the team that was going to go to the Super Bowl. But Patrick Mahomes, I'll do a couple things. Guys didn't get open for him. Pass protection was very iffy. I know the Chargers are a good defense. He didn't. You know what? When you don't get open and you're under pressure, and you get it a few times, Matt. We both played quarterback. Well, what do you expect the next play? Well, I expect pressure and nobody to get open. So it's going to change the way you play. Right. And I saw that maybe more than ever in the game. And Patrick Mahomes had to run for his life, and he was under great pressure and all that. And, I feel terrible about it. And, of course, Micah Parsons, I would say he is, for a football team, as being a defensive lineman, whatever you want to call him, he's as important as just about any quarterback in the NFL when it comes to what he meant to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And for personality, man, vicious, hustles. That's terrible to see it happen.
So let's stay focused on the Kansas City Chiefs for a little bit longer with this. Of course, like you mentioned too, with just how they looked and how they were playing and Mahomes and all of that. Going forward, right, for Mahomes, the ACL, of course, is devastating, but you do feel like in this modern world we live in, the ACL, it seems like guys come back faster than they ever have from this injury. So it's not the same that when we once thought about that type of injury. Still devastating nonetheless to see one of the bigger names in football just, again, be humbled and reminded that the game is violent, that the game really chews up and spits out just about everybody who plays, right, long enough in it. What does it look like, you think, for the Chiefs going forward? I mean, why did they fall short this year? And what needs to change going forward for them? Or is this just an off year and that's just part of the NFL?
It's an off year, I would say. And let's don't sit here and just be super shocked about it, because the NFL is doing this. It's just condensing every year, and it seems like every game. So to be dominant and just, in other words, there's so many teams out there that can beat you now. So that makes the games rougher and tougher and harder for quarterbacks, play callers, play designers. Going forward, I think I'll be very surprised. Here we are in December, and once they go to training camp, in August sometime or whatever, Patrick Mahomes will probably be somewhat close and ready to play. And knowing him and who he is and what he wants to do, he's going to do everything. It's about opening day that he's going to be the starter for the football team. What they must do, and they've gotten away with this offense for many, many years, but it's definitely changed. Now they don't have the best talent when they show up, and they got to get more systematic. In other words, Patrick, when we have one-on-one over here, your receiver is going to win the battle and be outside, throw it to him. Well, that doesn't happen enough. And it's a little too, I'm going to escape. And I think they have to find a way to make this offense a little bit more, what do I say, instead of just about the quarterback, about what they're doing, make it easier on the quarterback, what's better for the team. We've said this many times, and I have here. Remember a couple years ago, it was everywhere. And then with like 4 or 5 games ago, they settled in and they ran the plays at the way they were designed to be. And they did it really well. And they ended up going to the Super Bowl because of that. So some of that's got to take place.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, right? In I think systematic is great. Right? Like there needs to be a real procedure to how they attack defenses, right? Week in and week out. And of course, the running game, that's something that has progressively gotten worse. It seems like as this dynasty has gone on, the running game just keeps getting kind of pushed to the side of like it's not important to us. But I do think that it's been detrimental because it does put the ball in the hands of Patrick Mahomes a lot. And then, of course, when he plays outside of the structure of the play and that backyard ball, it's been great at times. But you're right; it does seem like they rely on a little bit too much of late, and where they need to kind of get back to maybe the fundamentals of like building a true offense and its foundation and kind of exploiting the things that they do. And I don't know, big guy. I mean, I thought too yesterday they basically just got out hit by the Los Angeles Chargers, right?
Man.
I mean, the Los Angeles Chargers, I think we're one of the few teams that we've seen here recently, other than the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago in the Super Bowl, really just kind of bullied the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's something that we don't see often, right? The Chiefs are a tough football team. They practice hard, they play hard, all that. They're well coached. But, the Chargers, I feel like just physically they laid into him. They really did. They out hit him in critical moments, and they really did to the Chiefs typically what Chiefs do to most teams, right? And get under their skin and really aggravate them by their way that they played. So I think Jesse Minter really had that team ready to go yesterday, and they were all over what the Chiefs were trying to do offensively.
They were. And, just watching the game, I watched it this morning again, and just to get a great feel for it. The Chargers are the faster team. They're the more talented team. The quarterback, stands in the pocket, Justin Herbert, and will absorb punishment to go through the process of what they're doing. To go back to Kansas City real quick, let's see. Patrick Mahomes has made a career in greatness by moving and throwing. Nobody can do this. Well, times have changed. Hell, every quarterback in the NFL can run and make these throws now. And the other thing is, too, Andy Reid, his career, even in Philadelphia as a head coach with all the different quarterbacks, he did a great job of designing offenses for them. And he's a throw-first coach. When in doubt, well, let's see, we can run for two or throw for two. Well, hell, let's throw it. I don't trust this running thing. And so we'll see about Andy Reid. It's a lot of talk. Well, maybe this will end. He'll go into retirement. I don't think he will. This is going to be, here we go. I'll be shocked if he doesn't change a little, and we'll see a different Patrick Mahomes when he comes back and plays for the Chiefs. So.
Yeah, for the Los Angeles Chargers, fantastic win on the road, sweep the Chiefs this season. Justin Herbert, I know the playoffs last year kind of left a certain viewpoint across the NFL and how he's viewed as far as the hierarchy of football. I watched that game yesterday, and I was like, you know what? Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't really give a damn what people think. And I don't really care if he's struggled in the postseason or whatever. He's phenomenal. What he does for this football team, the toughness, the plays that he makes, the offensive line, their injuries, no excuses, just gets it done. And man, Justin Herbert really doing some impressive things despite all the things that have been going on, especially with his front line.
Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, come on. Look at this offensive line. It was going to be, I thought, man, it's going to be the best offensive line in the NFL. But that didn't happen. People, last year, I thought we had an epidemic of offensive linemen getting hurt. And, it's so dangerous because it's always seems it happens. Somebody falls on you. And really this year's kind of been the same. A lot of tackles. You just go, here's the starting lineups, and now they're missing the top three offensive linemen today. And you just can't be the same team with this. And every team's loading up with extra offensive linemen. You can look at even the practice squads. I go down and go, man, they got 3 old linemen on their practice squad because you got to plan for it.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's a sad day. It really is amazing. It really bothered me seeing them both get hurt. And as soon as I saw the replay, I went, oh, that's just incredible. And I talked about the league, you just getting tighter and tighter about who can win. When you lose stars like that, it just makes it even more difficult, or I guess, or whatever you want to say, about how these teams come together.
Yeah, you're right. The margins are closer than they ever have been. And even for the Chargers, right, their trade of Odafe Owe has paid off. 2 sacks yesterday. uh, Tuli Tuapolotu. Just had to say it slowly just to make sure that I pronounced it correctly. But he's another guy that has kind of been an unsung hero on this defense. Had 2 sacks yesterday, 3 tackles for loss. Extremely disruptive and physical defensive lineman. That's great against the pass and the rush. So the Chargers, outside of guys like James and Perriman and Henley and a lot of the bigger names on that defense, man, really that trade for Owe is coming out and making some big changes for them defensively. And this is a tough football team despite what they've been going through. So let's go to
my last thing real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
You and I talk a lot, and we were complaining a little bit about the Chargers. Got to open up a little sometimes here and show us some different stuff.
Right.
But and as I see them play now the last few weeks, I just go, okay, they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not really getting away from who they are ever. They don't do that. And sometimes Greg Roman, I shouldn't said it that way. Greg Roman, when he needs to, he'll throw the ball, and they're looking for big shots down the field.
Right.
And the quarterback's done a great job of moving around and overcoming that hand injury and all that. But yeah, the Chargers, they got a formula, and man, they don't vary from it very much. That's for sure.
No, they don't. They don't. And what a win for them and for their franchise too. And
yeah,
really the team that finally did just the last blow, right, to the defending AFC champions and knocking them out of the playoffs. And what a different playoff picture it is now without Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and even guys like Lamar Jackson hanging on to dear life here towards the end. So it's going to be fascinating. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers now against the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos win this football game 34-26. Of course, the big story coming out of this, it is confirmed that Micah Parsons has torn his ACL. He is out for the season. That is what they feared last night. That is true regarding the results today. Big Eye just, of course, the Parsons injury is huge, but I want to kind of more focus on just the fact that, man, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and what they have done this season, 12-2. We know how great the defense is. Made some big-time plays again yesterday on defense. But Sean Payton said something really interesting in the post-game press conference yesterday, how he was like, for 15 years, I had one voice, right? One thought process as far as the quarterback position. And he goes, Bo Nix, man, he's just a relentless competitor. And he goes, that's something that's very refreshing and new to me.
Wow.
So, he's really, you can start to see that he's kind of got that look of he really is enjoying coaching Ferris Bueller, Bo Nix, and really understands the player now, I feel like, to a whole nother level, just another year into their marriage together.
I think he knew, or he thought Bo Nix was going to be exactly who he is before the draft. And just listening to the stories about it. And I remember you and we talked about that draft so much. And I went, man, Bo Nix, I liked him, and very few people did. And I felt, man, am I really wrong? Or, I'd hear, he doesn't, his arm's not strong. Whoever says that now, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I mean, damn, he can get it down the field with ease. And he's not a stat guy. He throws the damn ball away. The first thing I looked up, how many times was Bo Nix sacked yesterday against the Green Bay front, and all they do?
0.
A big fat 0. How much do you think these old linemen love his butt in Denver? Because they look at the stat sheet, everybody, well, they're giving up too many sacks. That doesn't happen. And, we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. His dad said, when you get sacked, basically you stop the offense, so don't get sacked. Right. And he does a great job of it. He's an aggressive decision maker. I would say he throws 3 or 4 balls every game. I go, okay, he got away with that one,
Yeah.
But yeah, the connection it's evident. The play selections, so many plays to get down the field. I won't even go into the plays, but they ran about 3 plays that I'm going to look at here later, Matt, and draw them up just in case. You never know, you or somebody needs a play. I say, here, run this thing against cover 2.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, really, really interesting. Defense is fast. It almost reminds me of a bend but don't break. They got enough speed and enough playmakers that if the offense stays on the field long enough, they're going to get you. And I kind of felt that way yesterday. And as the game wore on, I really got confident in it. I'm going, wow, when they need to, their speed and the relentlessness and the way they're coached, it's really coming out. But that's pretty cool. what you said about Bo Nix and Sean Payton. He found his modern day Drew Brees.
That's right. That's right. A little bit of a different character, but nonetheless, good coaches know how to get the best out of their
Yeah.
football players. And that's exactly what's happening right now with the Broncos. And their offense is hitting its stride at its most important time of the year. And yesterday, you're right. It is a bend, but don't break. The Denver Broncos didn't run as much cover zero as we saw the Chicago Bears run against the Green Bay Packers. They played more coverage. They played more redirect at the line of scrimmage. They're physical. They're in your face. They collapse a pocket consistently.
Right.
And man, I mean, if you're a little bit off with your throws, the ball's getting intercepted. And, that's what happened yesterday. Jordan Love throws 2 passes and big time moments of the game. One, a slightly underthrown post route to Christian Watson, where if it's hit in stride, it's maybe it's a touchdown, but slightly underthrown. And Pat Surtain makes one of the best interceptions I think we've seen all season, right? And then Riley Moss off a tip pass that's thrown slightly behind the receiver. And he has the ability to go from playing man coverage to reacting to the football in the air and making the play. So This is a team that's got a little bit of everything. And I think we saw too, just the depth of the secondary on top of the depth that they have at the front seven. It just seemed like as the game continued to wear on, that no matter what, the Denver Broncos were going to win this game, that they were the better football team, right? It just seems like they had kind of all the answers to the test as the game kept going on. It seemed like they were separating themselves more and more from the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, they did. I think, like you said, at the speed on both sides of the football, to the play designs, when I say play designs, I mean it more for the offense than I do the defense. But some of the play designs on the offensive side created opportunities for guys to catch touchdown passes, whatever. And that's every single week. And it seems like they start the game. They don't stick their toe in the water. Hell, they're right away. Let's throw it. Let's go. Roll out and throw one 40 yards down the field.
Right.
And make sure you hit it too. But it is. And, we laughed last year and even again this year. When they play preseason football, it's a regular season game for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're calling plays. I go, boy, I just saved that one for the season. But Sean doesn't care because, okay, well, you're going to react to what we did in the preseason game. We expect you to because we got the play that comes off of that. So we'll take advantage of that. But, yeah, Denver, the national people, nobody is on them as much as we probably are. And, and if they go in the playoffs and lose the first game of the playoffs or something, if they do, that's not going to change my thought of what I've been watching and what I see. These games are all close. And you got to make the plays at the right time and the big time. They've done it so far this year. Hey, yeah, maybe they've gotten lucky. How many games they won in a row now? What is it? 10?
I want to say it was 10. Yes.
Yeah, 10. I mean, you don't get lucky 10 straight weeks. It's been a fun watch.
11.
Okay. Yes, they're 11-2. So that's
12-2. But yeah, and that's what's interesting about this football team. And this is a football team too that's still overcoming the fact that they have, I think, like close to $60 million in dead cap space because of the Russell Wilson trade. Right. And the fact that they were able to identify that, move forward from that, and still build a phenomenal team, adding some great pieces into free agency, like Dre Greenlaw from San Francisco, like Tyler Hufanga from San Francisco as well, to go along with an already just super talented secondary. So this team is really doing a good job of winning right now, despite maybe some of the issues that they had in cap and all that kind of stuff with Sean Payton at the helm.
Little Jordan Humphrey, he was with the Giants in training camp.
Yeah, and we liked him.
I liked him a lot, and you do too. And because he's a in between of everything. He's in between of those split slot receiver, the outside receiver. Hell, he can be a tight end. When I saw him at training camp, I went, man, who's that tight end? I mean, because he's a big dude. So what is he? I heard him on the broadcast said how, Sean Payton was really happy to get him back because he's an in-between guy that they can use. The last year, I remember when the Giants signed him, I went back and looked at all of his routes and everything, and he looked like a faster tight end or whatever and a slower wide receiver. Right. So they had the perfect spot for him. They lost him. They got him back. So, yeah, good stuff for a good break. I think I'm surprised the Giants didn't do something with him, but whatever. Good break for Denver.
Yeah, definitely. A nice addition to a group that Cortland Sutton, just
Oh,
fine-tuned, polished route runner. Troy Franklin really popped yesterday and had some big time catches. And yeah, little Jordan Humphrey now with his size and physicality, he's not going to separate, but his ability to just body people out and be strong and physical. It's
yeah.
a great mixture to that basketball roster that they have in the skill group already.
Yeah, every team needs a box out and stick his butt on you and, get the rebound. I mean, that's part of football. You're right. The wide receiving core, as we've talked about many times, you want one of everything. You
Yeah.
don't want them all to have the same quality. So Denver, really interesting, really impressive. Green Bay, I think once Micah Parsons was hurt, I think they probably knew it was going to be bad. And I'm not saying I saw the game and went, oh, the emotion is gone. But boy, you can't, some of those players right before the ball snap, maybe on defense or whatever, going, man, Micah Parsons is gone for the
Yeah.
year. So
Super deflating for this football team. Do you still see them as a potential Super Bowl team without Micah Parsons? Can they still make a deep run, or is Micah Parsons just that big of a piece going forward for them? As you see, with FanDuel right now, our sponsor of the show, the odds that we have here: the Rams plus 350 to be a Super Bowl winner, the Seahawks plus 750 to be the Super Bowl winner. There's the Bills at third place there with plus 800, the Broncos at plus 950 there. Big Eye, your thoughts though? Packers plus 1100 to win the Super Bowl, but without Micah Parsons, do you feel like there's less of a chance now for them to make that run?
yeah, there's less of a chance, no doubt. You're losing Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah,
That's what you're losing. He makes plays himself, but the other thing, he creates plays for many other players,
right.
and he makes it easy on the coaches. Hey, if we line up Micah here and here and every, he can get it done. Yeah, so they were doing a great job of moving him around and trying to take advantage of his skill. And when you and I talked about him last week, man, when he was running against the Chicago Bears and chasing Caleb Williams and doing all that, it's scary. I mean, it was almost like you go, he could run, he could be a tailback in the NFL, maybe a little
Right.
too big, but the rest of the stuff he's got. So yeah, it really hurts him. And so what do? I don't know if you simplify your defense, maybe a little, not even that. No, the offense got to be more aggressive, got to let it go a little more earlier. And, when I watch them play, Jordan Love is hitting some great plays downfield, but also they're not hitting enough of those routine plays.
Right.
They got to do that more. And
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just like, come on, get out of the huddle and let's go. So
Yeah.
it's very
I agree with you. It's a little too casual at times offensively,
measured.
even too for Jordan Love. Just too measured, too casual.
Right.
Just want to see a switch up of tempo every now and then, right?
Yeah.
Want to see a little bit more of an attack mode, like you're mentioning. It's a really good point.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, hey, Christian Watson also went out of this football game with a shoulder/chest injury when he landed hard on that Pat Surtain interception. We'll
Right.
see what that comes. I haven't heard news yet as far as the results of that injury and how detrimental that is to the season. So Packers kind of got a little banged up in this football game too. A few other players left the game as well that didn't return. So they definitely got some stuff moving forward they got to work through. Let's go now to one of the more exciting matchups that we had the entire day. And I mean, this was a game where I kind of like almost turned it off. And then when I looked back again, I was like, holy crap, they're winning. And that's the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. The Buffalo Bills winning this football game 35-31 over the Patriots. This is Sims Complete on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. And damn, Big Eye, I don't know. Where do you want to start with this one? I guess let's just go with the fact of who did the Patriots win the game, lose the game, or did the Bills win it? Or how do you view this one?
Yeah, well, they're both going to think exactly that. The Patriots are going to think we lost the game,
right?
And we had them, and of course the Bills are going to do that. Yeah, listen, I saw the score 21-0. I had all the screens going. I'm watching. Then I go, well, 21-7. Of course, at least I go. Here's what I'm thinking. Well, Buffalo didn't get shut out, so that's good. And I just felt like watching early in that game, which the numbers and everything said it, that they were executing at a high level. And, man, they were emotionally charged and all that. But all of a sudden, once Buffalo got that first touchdown, it's like their confidence grew.
Right.
And, it was an outstanding game by, of course, well, a lot of people. But Josh Allen made a lot of plays once again when the play is there. I don't think he missed a person that was open once in the game. People, we talk about all this, but Josh Allen, I know you can't teach accuracy. We know that. But damn, he's accurate when he has time to throw the ball and puts it right on the players. But yeah, I look at it. Buffalo, is they're losing 21-0. I go, well, I never really thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl. So this just kind of solidifies it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And
I think we
what
all
did
had
they
that
do?
feeling. Yeah.
They brought everybody in America back on their side again. And of course, in Buffalo. And maybe, as we've talked about, Matt, how everything is coming closer together with talent, then maybe the Bills could get lucky or fight their way through it and get to the Super Bowl. Because I do think this. I think they're very well coached. They adapted almost right away once they're down 21-0 on both sides of the football, and all their stars came through. So that's just a few of my thoughts about that game.
Yeah, it's amazing because it seems like every other week we're talking about their lack of talent here or there, or we wish they had this or that. And yet they're 10-4 and they find ways to win against teams that seem to be better or playing better football at the moment. And they're a scrappy football team. And I think it just speaks to the culture of the franchise and Sean McDermott and how he coaches them up and prepares them. It also doesn't hurt either that you probably have the best quarterback in the league and one of the best running backs in the league too on your offense side of the football. And, when those two guys are playing really good football and in Superman mode, they're tough to stop. And we saw again, we discussed this going into the weekend, the tight ends, there's Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, 6 catches between them. Both were just about under 80 yards together, 2 touchdowns there in the low red zone there by Dawson Knox. So that's the recipe. Just good team wins and not really worrying about what the stat sheet looks like or how impressive our rankings are and all that. They're just finding ways to win in critical moments and making the plays they need to.
Yeah, they really are. And, I think during the game, I said, I got to quit being what do they call it? A genius after the fact.
Right.
And as I watch them play, I just go, wow, this team is really well coached.
Yeah.
And when they lose, I feel like it is the talent. So, you can only do so much coaching to bring them to the finish line. If the talent's not good enough, yeah, you can overcome some of it, but that's not going to make you a Super Bowl winner or get you to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They are, like I said, as I was watching it, and once it turned, and then you could see it. I really do feel it. I'm looking at the Patriots and going, they can't believe they're in this situation.
That's right.
It's almost like it dragged down. Yeah. And, where's the energy? They lost all their energy, but, you got to do something to recapture it. And that's either make a really special play, get the crowd going, or you make that call that you've been holding on to that's going to get you going on either side of the ball. And it was tough on them. And, hey, I will say this, Drake May played well, very impressed. Man, he's got a compact motion too, Matt. He's hard to sack because he can get rid of the football about as easy and as fast as any quarterback in the league.
I think Drake played tough. I wouldn't say that he played well. I think that was kind of like where Travion Henderson was amazing. If Drake makes 1 or 2 plays here or there, I think it gives him a little bit of a better opportunity to win late. Right. But I think we got to see a little bit of just that's the difference. Drake May, young quarterback, young football team, or at least new football team that's learning how to win in these tough environments. And then there's the Buffalo Bills are like, God, we've been in so many big time games. We've experienced so many different things. Who gives a damn that we're down 21-0? Let's just keep firing, So I think we kind of got to see that separation and maybe just a little bit of a peek forward, right, into the future of all right, you got no Mahomes now. You got no Joe Burrow. The AFC North is a disaster. The AFC South, it's, the Jaguars, the Texans, and we'll see what happens there. You got the Broncos with Bo Nix and a young quarterback there as well. So, yeah, maybe this is kind of like that opening that the Bills needed to be the experienced football team that's been through some of this stuff to help them in the postseason against some talented football teams, but with young quarterback play behind it.
Yeah, we got a new list of people, you know.
Yeah,
So okay, you lost this quarterback and this quarterback, they're not going to be in the playoffs, but we got these new ones coming in.
right.
And so I think that's one thing. When I do look at the landscape now, just a little bit today thinking about it, there's not really anybody in the league that you go, you're won't believe what I'm gonna say when I say this. Maybe the one team, two teams that Buffalo would have to, I think, look at. One is the Houston Texans, which we've already seen,
Yeah,
and that's not going to change. Jacksonville is actually a little scary,
yeah.
but who was my other one? Um,
Broncos, Chargers.
no, I'm trying to think of a big team I had in my mind. Well, whatever. As they look at it now, there's only a couple of teams. The Eagles you worry about because they're so
Oh,
big and
yeah.
powerful. Maybe I didn't say that, so I thought I did. Yeah, the Eagles would scare me.
Okay.
Running the ball, pass protection, defensive front, a lot of things there that make it tough for any team matching up against them. They're not playing great now. That's one thing, but they'll straighten it out before this all gets going. And so Buffalo run into the Eagles. To me, that would be one of the toughest matches they could have.
Yeah,
But,
and we're gonna see that here. So they play the Browns next week, and then following that, on the 28th, they play the Eagles, and then they finish the season with the Jets. So we'll get to kind of see how that matchup looks. And yeah, the Eagles feeling good about their victory over the Raiders, but I don't know if that really solves any of their problems. The
no,
Raiders are, let's just face it, they're awful. They're the worst, one of the worst teams in the NFL at the moment,
no,
right? So
no, no, they're not. They're the worst.
they are the worst. Okay.
They're
I
the
was just trying to
worst.
be polite,
No,
I was
no,
gonna
no,
group
no.
them in there. I was gonna
They,
bundle those teams.
you bundle. Well, they know it, so you don't have to worry. They know they're the worst team in the league. And too, when you look at the Eagles, yeah, I know big deal about yesterday, but it makes you feel good.
That's
And come
right.
on, playing when you win, come on. You don't care if it's against the eighth graders down the street, as long as we win the game. And I think that's right away. I'm trying to watch the Eagles out of the corner of my eye, and when they did the shovel pass for the touchdown, I got. They want to make sure Jalen gets off to a good start, and that's how you do it.
That's
And
right.
that's okay. I like that. I was like, good for them.
Yeah.
It's okay to help the quarterback get off to a really good start and be in rhythm and not have to sit back there. They learned their lesson. And now we know why Jalen Hurts throws the football and loves to throw it to where? To the sidelines.
Yeah.
Because when we saw him play the Chargers, those balls were going everywhere over the middle.
Yeah.
Doesn't see it. He's not used to his skill is not seeing the receiver and then out his peripheral vision, he sees a defender coming towards it. He doesn't see that, I don't think, yet.
Yeah.
And you only get good at that by doing it a lot. But, it was a good win for the Eagles and good for their psyche, no doubt.
Yeah, it definitely was. And we'll get to see that matchup with the Bills Eagles 2 weeks from now. So that'll be a fun one.
Yes.
Big guy. Now let's go to the Detroit Lions. This is
Oh.
Sims Complete, brought to you by the Believe Sports Network, and we're sponsored by FanDuel. The Detroit Lions losing the football game 34-41 to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams now advancing to 11-3. The Lions dropping to 8-6. And big guy, at first, it just seemed like, well, is anybody going to stop anybody in this game? And it was something. But you know what was impressive, though? The Rams front seven absolutely kicking the Lions' butt in the running game. And that's where, to me, it was like, yeah, they gave up a lot of yards in passing. There's no doubt about that. But Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery did not make a huge impact in the running game. And I think that change and just controlling of the tempo of their offense helped them a little bit. Jared Goff played fantastic. There's no doubt about it. But there is something about when you take away the Lions' running attack that it does seem like they're, just not quite the same dominant team, especially on the road there. But huge win for the Rams.
Man, I mean, listen, the Lions can honk it in there as good as anybody. Right. And of course, when they have any success, you can do it both ways. You can run well, and that brings you the play action, or you can get the play action going. Sometimes you don't have to run it in there 5 times before the defense goes, oh, they're going to run it.
Right.
That play action pass by the Detroit Lions, it's phenomenal. Damn. Yeah. And Jared Goff, he's got to pay somebody. I wonder how much he gives some of these coaches because, damn, they do a great job of throwing those balls over the middle.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was letting it go. So yeah, but what bothers me, Matt, what good team? Yeah, they stopped the run, but my gosh, they were giving up. What did Jared Goff? 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. The two receivers, Jameson Williams and Ahmad St. Brown. Oh my gosh, I can't even read it. They went for about 300 yards or more.
Yeah, I mean they were the whole offense, just those
Yeah.
two alone. I mean everyone else. Raymond, Gibbs had 20 each, so they were basically the bulk of all of the passing. So the Rams only had to stop two people. Right?
Yeah, the other one is too. This Puka Nakua, it's 519 yards the Rams got against Detroit. Man, I know Detroit's beat up and all that, missing a lot of guys and everything, but boy, that is something they need to take a little book or thought out of what the Indianapolis Colts did. Yeah, the Colts lost to Seattle, but the way they managed the game was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Until the very end.
Right. All right. Let's stay with this game for now.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I had to get to it.
You got it.
Yeah, no. So that's so you saying all that about the Rams, it still worries me that they give up too many points sometimes in games where I know they're definitely the better football team in about every area, but they still get the passing game still is working against them. So
yeah, and that's where it's a little confusing, right? Because you look at the Rams defensively, 13th in the league in yards per game, 11th in rush yards per game at 103.
Right.
Defensive passing, right, 211 per game. That's 16th in the league, but they only give up 17 points a game, right? And this is where the Lions really, they gave them everything they could, right? As far as just the passing attack and putting points on the board and all that, and Stafford's early interception. But credit to the Rams, just played tough as hell. Matthew Stafford was phenomenal. Connor Williams and Blake Corum, again, right, showing just the balance on the offense. And that's I would say the biggest difference that I've seen with Sean McVay and this Rams team this time around is they're just a little bit more physical, I feel like, than they ever been on the offensive line, and their ability to just, like you say, just push people around and to honk it in there. And I think that's really the biggest thing for them, right? We haven't seen that in the past where they're that physical of a team with their running approach. And this time around, I feel like that could be one of the biggest differences to them in making a deeper run in the playoffs.
Matt, I think they got two things that we just don't think about when we talk about the Rams. They're physically tough and they're mentally tough too.
Yeah.
They control their emotions. They just keep playing.
Right.
And, the head coach of that football team, he's got it. I mean, he's got his finger or whatever he's doing. He knows what to push, and it's really working for him that way. And, they don't panic when they get down early in the games or anything like that. They just keep, hey, that quarterback, the receiving group, the offensive line, what you say is rougher and tougher than it has been. I mean, these are a lot of qualities where you don't panic unless it's late in the game and you're down where you won't catch up. They're the one team that would scare they would scare everybody in the league if they had to play them in the championship game or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree with that too, because they got playmakers everywhere. As you see here on the bottom part of the screen, FanDuel have the Rams plus 350 to win the Super Bowl. And, with the defense and all that, I know they gave up a lot of yards, but they do have a lot of playmakers on defense. Turner and Kitchens have been doing some good stuff. Cam Curl as well. Nate Landman has been awesome at middle linebacker. He seems to be playing some really good football. So despite all the yards and points they gave up yesterday, I still believe in this defense and the talent that they have there with Byron Young, with Braden Fisk and those guys. Hopefully Fisk's injury isn't too lingering. And I'd say, the other big injury yesterday outside of Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons is Devontae Adams and the seriousness of his hamstring and how long that potentially could linger because the Stafford-Adams connection, outside of Puka Nakua was really becoming something super special. And, for them, not having him out there, there's no doubt that they're getting more production from the tight end position and Colby Parkinson, who's been playing very good football for them.
Right.
But definitely feel like Devontae Adams is just, the cherry on top that really makes the offense just that much more efficient when he's out there.
Devontae Adams has been looking for that right spot. oh, it's not here. It's not with the Raiders. No, oh no, Aaron, no, that's over. And yep, he found his man.
That's right.
Man, did he find his man?
Yeah.
Gosh almighty, he must just go home and tell his wife it's unbelievable.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's a great player.
I can open. I mean, I don't even move. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like everything, quarterbacks need protection. Wide receivers they need quarterbacks that can really get them the ball in any situation. And from what it sounds like, I think I would say I might be surprised if he plays one of these last 3 games.
Yeah. So we know that the Rams they clinched a playoff spot.
Right.
Right now, it's just kind of like where exactly are they going to figure this out with their 11-3 record right now at the top of the NFC, with the Seattle Seahawks also at 11-3, the Philadelphia Eagles at 9-5, the San Francisco 49ers at 10-4. But yeah, I would say, hey, just shelf them for the rest of the year and just be ready for the playoffs. That's what we need you. Just be ready to go then. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what they're not going to take a chance.
Right.
They can't. So I think they can find a way. Look, this is where you coach the team a little differently.
Yeah.
And that's going to be easy for Sean McVay, the play calling, play designs, whatever. And manage the game a little differently because you don't have the home run guy anymore.
Right.
You want him to come back when he's that guy again. So that's why maybe it's missed 2 games, get in there for the last one. But if they can kind of continue to win, they can sit him out 3 plus the bye.
Right.
So surely if that did happen, that would put the Rams at 100% health and gives them a chance to be the team that they really are.
Yeah. So the Rams remaining schedule, they have the Seahawks next week, then the Falcons, then the Cardinals to end the season. So, tough division matchup next week. Falcons, of course, in Atlanta, and then again against the Arizona Cardinals there to finish out the season. So now let's go to another team within their division, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. Getting a big time win, a tight win at home, 18-16 over the Indianapolis Colts, improving to 11-3 on the season. This is Sims Complete on the Believe Sport Network, brought to you by FanDuel. And the Seattle Seahawks, man, I mean, it wasn't the prettiest win by any means, but survive in advance and don't apologize for it. Your thoughts on this game and just kind of how they went about getting this victory?
I'd like to hear that halftime speech for the Seattle Seahawks. I think somebody got their ass blistered.
Okay.
I mean, it was a terrible performance by them. They weren't emotionally involved in it, and there's this, the Indianapolis Colts, man, couple first downs and their sidelines jumping up and down and this and that. And They played a great first half, and the second half went by like that. But what I said earlier, managing the game, calling the plays, snapping it, whatever. It was really well orchestrated by the coaches and the players. And, it comes down to the end. And I remember, of course, I'm sitting there going, hell, I'm going to root for the dang Indianapolis Colts a little bit here. This is a great story. It was hilarious to watch.
Yeah.
After Phillip Rivers, even the announcers said it, after his first 3 or 4 passes, he's nervous and he really wouldn't let it go. They're going, well, you got to tell everybody in the secondary to scoot up. But it did open up as it went along. And the only thing is, once they kicked that field goal in the fourth quarter, I said, I'm thinking, don't play conservative. And the first pass, I saw it, they hit it. Now they got you. And what do? Now you get super aggressive. They play man-to-man, but they still play safe. He throws an outcut, and these field goal kickers, come on. This is incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. Some of these, that game was incredible. And maybe what was incredible as the night went on, the Dallas Cowboys kicker missed a couple. So,
yeah, I mean, we knew the Cowboys were losing when Brandon Aubrey misses 2 field goals there. So that's when it's a weird day. But yeah, Myers with the 56-yard field goal at the end of the game to get the win for the Seattle Seahawks there at the end.
Yeah, it was it was amazing for as little action that happened for the offenses, that it was so intriguing. And of course, it's because of Phillip Rivers. But it was a really good watch. I paid almost attention to that every single play
Yeah.
because just, Rivers, I'd go, he's the same guy. He just aged a lot and he just can't, he never had a real, what I would call a strong NFL arm, but he's accurate as hell. And that's kind of what he did in the game too. But
Yeah.
the big thing is, Matt, here we go. Can the Indianapolis Colts keep what they did? Can they recreate it again this coming week? Do you have that the strength and all that emotion to carry it over for another game?
Right.
What do you think? You think they duplicate that?
No, I don't think they can.
I don't either.
And the remaining schedule. So now for the Indianapolis Colts, this is 4 in a row, right? Losing to the Chiefs, Texans, Jaguars, and Seahawks. Now, all 4 very good teams, tough teams that we have a lot of respect for in the NFL and the way that they're playing. And now next week they'll take on the San Francisco 49ers at home. Following that game, they played the Jacksonville Jaguars, who it seems like are playing their best football at this time of the year. And then another team within their division who's playing great football, and the Houston Texans. So, despite how great the story has been for the Colts this season and how valiant their effort was yesterday, I just feel like it's too much to ask of Phillip Rivers and this team really to kind of hang on to 3 teams that are really kind of surging here towards the finish line.
I think you're right. Really tough. What a schedule.
Yeah, brutal.
It's got to be the roughest 3 games of everybody in the NFL.
Yeah.
And, so that, and just like I said, the emotion and how many more plays can you design for Phillip Rivers?
Right.
This will be interesting. San Francisco, they're not going to back up 20 yards and let you throw an outcut. They're going to be all over this.
They are. That's right.
It'll be interesting to watch. And we'll get that answer probably in the first quarter of that game this weekend.
So. And again, just another highlight too, just because I know the story was about Phillip Rivers, but how about Lou Anarumo again in that defense? Cincinnati. Yes. Cincinnati, what do you think, huh? Because our boy Lou, did the damn thing again. He really coached up this unit really well and giving them the opportunity to win this football game on the road against Sam Darnold, that offense that's been playing very well. So just a credit to the Indianapolis Colts. They got some great pieces there. They're ready to win now. And hopefully when Daniel Jones gets healthy, they'll be back in this race here next season because they're a good watch. They're well coached and they're tough as hell. And it's going to be a tough finich, though.
Yeah.
These last 3 games.
I actually, during the first half, and even I said, this is the best and the most emotion I saw from the Indianapolis defense all year.
Right.
Now, maybe I didn't look at it the way I did in this game, knowing they needed to be but I thought they were extremely physical and played just their energy was noticeable on the TV.
Yeah.
And like I said, what a fun game to sit and watch. So
yeah, it was really good. And guys like Bynum and Cross played extremely well. Pratt and Franklin just doing their thing. So just a good performance. And Latu is really popping up recently. These past few weeks, it's really been I feel like it's been a really big few weeks for this young man out of UCLA, second year in the league, and he's really made some tremendous strides here recently of becoming, one of those guys for them on the front 7 there. Big Guy, any closing arguments or thoughts before we close out the show here?
Real quick thoughts.
Yeah.
Baltimore, I know it was the Bengals, but it was a whipping, and Lamar looked much better. The defense played inspired.
Right.
Joe Burrow, he had one of the worst days I've ever seen him have as a professional quarterback.
Yeah.
And I the fact that he came out and talked last week and enjoying the game and all this, I thought that worked against him. I really do.
Agree.
So, and don't say it. I don't. Yeah. It's like I don't want to know everything there is to know about you. You're my son. Some things you just keep to yourself, and we're going to play.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
you're right. You kind of wonder if the transparency of Joe Burrow really kind of bled into the rest of the football team. Like as soon as they had like a little adversity, it just kind of it just fell apart completely, and Gilman with one of the coolest plays I feel like ever too, with the turnover, and then they hand him off like it was almost like a 400-meter just relay race where they just hand it off to him and he takes off down the sideline. It was unbelievable how seamless that football play was for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
Tell me
totally agree
this.
with you, though, big guy.
You
There's
got
something
you got
weird.
all that you got all that stuff in front of you. What are Baltimore's last 3 games? Do you know?
Oh, let me see. I actually, unfortunately, just closed that out, but I'll open it up here just in a
Yeah,
moment. So,
it's
but for Baltimore, for them going forward, hold on. Why can't I find this? Unbelievable. It was just here a
all right.
second
I
ago.
didn't mean to
That's all
ambush
right.
you with that question. Just
No,
because
I got to be prepared, Phil. It's on me.
well, you can't. Yeah. The thing Derrick Henry, 100 yards. They rushed for 189 yards against the Bengals.
Yep.
So think about the game they had played down in Baltimore, how bad they were, and what a turnaround. And that probably worked against the Bengals too.
Yeah.
Well,
So that
we just beat the hell out of them. So why can't we do it again?
right. So
They're back. Go ahead.
the last three games that they have are the Patriots, Packers, and Steelers to finish out the season. So yeah, uh,
Wow.
we're gonna learn a lot about them too. So
Yeah. Good luck.
yeah, good luck is right. But you can see the Baltimore. Hey, they're hanging in there. They're playing tough. They're clearly not exactly the team that we were anticipating to be the entire season, but found a way to win against a division opponent that kind of dominated them a few weeks earlier than that. And hey, AFC North is wide open right now, right? With the Steelers and where they're at, with Baltimore. So this is going to be a fun finish to the end for this division as well.
It will be. All right. What else? Is that it?
I think that's it, Big Guy. You got any other thoughts that you want to add?
Well, I thought Caleb
Giants?
Williams. I thought Caleb Williams had a good game. The Bears played emotional. Your
Right.
boy Ben Johnson, damn, he goes in. That's some funny stuff when he gets in the locker room after they win. I'm enjoying that. And the New York Giants, they did play, and that's it. I mean, hey, listen, I know the coaches, they let him go, but somebody on that team, right from the start, I just no, there was no energy,
Yeah.
no energy, and they had some moments, whatever, but not enough of them. And they got enough guys that are older, good players to really to play better. It just and here's the other thing. I wrote this down too. I saw it a lot. Jordan Love does it, but we saw it in the Giant game. Jackson Dart, when a receiver's got their defender behind him on your rear end, throw it across the field instead of up the field. And man, they had some big play capabilities there late in the game, but kept throwing them up the field. And they just can't made it. You brought the defender back into better coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember hearing it all the time when I played too. When the guy is running across the field like this, if the guy is behind him, chasing him, even if he's close, as long as you throw it across, the guy, you got him boxed out.
Right.
And I don't know why the Giants did it. I saw some other games and go, damn, is anybody teaching this? Because I saw it quite a bit yesterday with other teams. But the Giants 3 or 4 times easy where they could have maybe had a play.
I wonder too if it's just a little bit mechanically when I watch Jackson Dart play. Sometimes with some of those deep crosser throws, I think sometimes his arm gets a little bit too long, and that's why he kind of misses inside on those throws because he just can't quite catch up and drive it out, the way that he wants to. Not to get into the technical aspect of just coaching and all that. We could do that another time, but the Giants, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. It was a team that's fired a bunch of coaches versus a team that has their entire roster of coaches still engaged and the culture is still built into it. And despite what you think about the Commanders, they have their leadership and they didn't deviate from it and they believe in their system and what they're doing. So I think we saw a little bit of a difference in culture there being played out on the field yesterday. And one team really playing for something, right, going forward, right? Another team that's just kind of playing at the moment, to be honest. So
the Giants and Jets both. I think the Jets, they just got suffocated by the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. I thought overall, tried to watch Brady Cook, free agent quarterback, here he is starting and everything. And, he overall, he should be, he did okay. He did better than okay. I thought
I thought he played well. I thought he played really good. I feel like he improved from last week, so at least we see one of the Jets quarterbacks improving, and just I don't know. They're a bad football team. And, it's funny too, because Aaron Glenn a few weeks ago was asked about Steve Wilkes, and he was just like, yeah, we're going to keep giving him time to do his thing. I brought him in here to do, to bring his system in and all that stuff. And just a, news break earlier today, he did relieve Steve Wilkes of his duties as a defensive coordinator. So the Jets and the Giants both have a lot of work cut out for them going forward. And really, a lot of issues, right? But it starts with coaching and just how the teams are being built right now.
All right.
All right.
We'll do a Giant and Jets special maybe here in another week or two.
Yeah. An hour-long special.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people wanting to watch that one.
Actually, yes, I do think.
You do? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I do. There's something about it. So, but yeah, that's all we got for today. Big weekend in the NFL. Big guy, you the man. This is Sims Complete, a part of the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. We'll be back later this week to preview next week's games. That's all we got. We'll see you next time.
My last little thought. I know we're going to go, but you look like Bo Nix a little bit. You know that?
Oh, thank you. I was, going for something about Mary look with my hair today. No, I just had really bad hair.
You got a little Bo Nix. Bo Nix, he combs his hair like this.
Yeah. I just, I took the beanie off today for the show, and
that's all right.
This is what happened, man. I need a haircut.
No, you don't. You got a little look. You look like Bo Nix, though. It's okay.
I gotta comb my hair like you. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah, good luck on that.
That's better. Yeah. All right.
All right.